cool person. Yeah, like, if people make a really funny remark, I always say, like, oh, like, our NASL, whoever's admin, just give 10 points to this user. And it's really funny because you can even see your stats. You type in ! Stats, and you see how many points you have.
We should give, like, the winners. Oh,
that's right. The winners
get beta keys.
The top three finishers
so
and points
cool, man.
get a beta key. That is really cool. I remember back also when people used to do trivia bots and stuff like that, and like go to chat channels, and if you answer random trivia, then you also get points.
I used to do that a ton.
Yeah.
But you know what? I would never get anything out of it. I got mods for channels, but nothing of like substance. Not a beta key. Not a Heart of the Swarm beta key.
That's really cool. I've been playing a lot of Heart of the Swarm too, Andre, and the ladder's reset today. And man, I'm playing with a bunch of people who just cheese their way to Grandmasters again. It's kind of annoying.
Seriously.
Yeah.
Sounds like NA ladder. Let's go ahead and go into this game. Bottom left-hand corner, we have FXO Lowely spawning as the yellow Zerg once again on Cloud Kingdom against this player over here. It is not Slayer Sella. It is Dark as the green Zerg, who is currently up 1-0.
In the bottom left, we have from Team FXO, it is Lowely.
It is.
Did you introduce him already?
I did. I'm sorry. It was really brief. That's
what happened was so what you did was you talked about the stats thing and the bot, and so I looked at the chat to see it, and apparently everyone broke the bot because as soon as I said you can look up your stats, everyone started typing in stats, and it flooded, and the bot's like, I can't handle all of these requests. And the bot kind of broke down, so I apologize, Andre. I was not listening for 10 seconds.
You know, it's one of many things that we do for our subscribers. Definitely check it out. You can go to nasl.tv for more information. All those beautiful subscribers watching everything in 1080p. Nevertheless, we do have hatchery first for, it looks like Lowely, not so much for Dark right here. He's gone pool first, and then a hatchery. This is very minor. We normally see like a 1 drone, 2 drone difference max, and it's because of the queen mechanic. Just because you get that that queen out a little bit faster, you're able to inject, so you get that extra.
Yeah.
Well, you get to keep up with your opponent, whereas they're going to get 2 queens at the same time and double inject their hatcheries. But it's just about 1 larva difference. So it could be a drone, it could be a Zergling, an Overlord, etc.
Yeah, it goes both ways too. In an earlier pool, some Zerg's able to squeeze out extra pair of Zerglings, and then they can scout safely.
That's right.
And get a sense of your gas timing, which is very relevant considering that Lowely's been skipping his gas and going for quick double queen, and immediately Dark has been harvesting his gas off his extractor. And Dark's been really aggressive in general, just as nature. Loves being aggressive, not just with Zerglings early on, but Infestors mid and late game. Loves having small packs of roaches dropped everywhere. This is kind of the style that I really like seeing in ZVZ because of the mobility factor of how fast your units can go, and Dark's one of those guys that really capitalized on it.
Yes. Now Dark sees that no gas is taking at the main base, and right away he's saying to himself, my opponent has no capability of not only scouting, but even putting aggression on me. So a lot of times when I'm in this situation, I'm actually thinking about either teching very fast, because my opponent just doesn't know if I'm all-inning or going for tech or going for economy. Or I'll actually go for an expansion, just a third base. And that might seem really weird because, you know, you've gotten the metabolic boost a little bit faster, but the fact of the matter is your opponent still has to defend against a lot of all-ins because it's only 350 minerals that you're committing to that hatchery, the drone and then the hatchery. And, you know, you still have a lot of all-in potential despite, you know, committing 350 minerals.
Yeah, and that difference may seem very minor, but it does come into play, especially at this level. And we do see again a quick Baneling nest from Dark, and this time Lowely's trying to play very, I guess, greedy in the sense where you go queens early on, you can go for a lot of drones because you have so much inject and you have ability to defend. Although when you do this kind of queen style, you also usually incorporate a spine crawler as well. And again, Lowely trying to really play as minimalist as possible. And now that he's going to get a scout and he's going to see the Baneling nest and that speed's done, Lowely has to like immediately commit everything to defense, but he just unleashed another wave of drones and he's gassing up, Andre.
Yeah, this is actually very Lowely-esque. We saw him do this in the WCS. As you can see, the SimCity is really nice, so no units can actually come in here. And what Lowely is setting up for is some sort of potential timing push. Now, I don't think Lowely's actually going to do some sort of like +1 roach time, but he's saying, okay, I have the ability to mass out in a ton of roaches. I have 2 evolution chambers, could be doing a 1-1 timing on you. So you be very careful. That might dissuade players from actually going that third base. But a lot of times Lowely behind this can actually switch it up, go very tech heavy. For now, we don't see him going anything just yet. He's getting a couple of roaches. This is first just to be safe, so he's not dead to some sort of baneling all in. But we'll see if he actually switches it over and goes for some huge roach aggression. I don't think he will be. As you can see, the layers coming up here, so an attack isn't for quite a long time. He might be preparing, though, in case there is some sort of Spire tech where he can just backstab with a ton of roaches with a good upgrade count.
Yeah, you know, as soon as Lowely left his base, Dark went to mass drone and heavy tech, and I guess he either changed his plan or he was just trying to fake out his opponent and try to scare him into a little bit more defensiveness. But as a result, because of his timely switch, Dark is actually not far behind in any regards, despite Lowely playing slightly greedier this entire time. He is down in drones, but now it's actually starting to get to the point where drone saturation is a little bit heavy on 2 base. You can see Lowely trying to take his 3rd base, but at the same time, Dark's got it timed very nicely as well.
Yeah. I mean, both these players are playing it pretty even. I think Dark is really respecting Lowely in this position. He knows his economy is flourishing. Income tab, let's look at it. Lowely has a slight advantage in harvesters. The 3rd bases are pretty similar. But the fact of the matter is, when you open up gasless, you have more drones on economy, obviously. You have more drones on minerals, more importantly. So that means you can get drones more often. I mean, honestly, if you're getting gas that early, you don't have the ability to spend all of your larva injects. So the fact of the matter is, Lowely should have more gas and minerals to work with, but in the end, Dark should have the initiative. He's the one that gets to make the first move, and that's where he needs to actually come up with something. He has gotten a slightly faster 3rd base, so that can be considered as the first move, but we'll see if it's actually constituting enough.
Now, Dark, of course, he goes for a much quicker infestor tech, and as a result, scales back his production of everything else. But that's exactly what makes Dark kind of scary, because his infestor control is top notch, and I want to really emphasize that that it might seem like, yeah, Lowely might have higher numbers in certain regards, and sure, Lowely might have more map control at the moment, but as long as Dark has infestors out into the field and he's feeling confident, I think you can never really stay too relaxed, because look, this hatcher's already at very low health, and Dark's already putting on aggression.
Oh, wow. And Frodan, this might be too much right here. Lowely might actually die. Like, this is the most straightforward attack ever as well. And you can see just Lowely droning up here at the 3rd base is actually killing him, because if we go back to Dark's base, he didn't really drone up at all, so all those extra larvae is going directly to this roach count. And he's doing that because he weakened that hatchery so substantially. He's trying to actually find some sort of hole in his opponent's play, and he has.
Wow, these roaches are getting caught out of position. Dark doesn't even have to use his infestors at all. Although infestors do pop out and Dark's roaches do get caught, the drones are also moving straight forward out and also getting picked off here. The drone count is something that does matter in this case if Lowely wants to expand to a 3 base. Dark, in the meantime, has been safe back at his 3rd. He has infestors popping. He has everything going on, even +2 started, about halfway finished. This is looking very good for Dark, and sure, his supply count may look like it's a little bit lower, but as soon as he just starts macroing again, he's going to be in good shape.
That's right, and defensive infestors that...
On Cloud Kingdom,
on Cloud Kingdom. But defensive infestors are much, much better in this position. All you need to do is just garnish a little bit with, you know, a couple of roaches, really. Maybe not garnish. Put on some heavy cream of roaches, and he's good to go. He needs a lot of them, but I think he's absolutely fine. I mean, you need 4 fungals to actually kill a pack of roaches, and he has plenty of that. I think he has like 6 fungals at this point, plus infested Terrans, potentially. So everything's swaying for Dark. He has the expansion lead, he has the unit lead, and now he's getting Hydras out. I love this Hydra transition, Frodan. It really, really just secures him with a big advantage, because defensively, Hydras are fantastic. They can obviously sit behind all your roaches, add that extra DPS, and really just wreck the front line, especially when you incorporate fungal growth. with that.
On a tight, choky map like Cloud Kingdom, range is a huge factor, especially of how everything clumps up. If you can control a ramp with fungal growth, Hydras just pick apart the army very well. Brilliantly said, Andre. And I think that's kind of the beauty of incorporating some Hydras a lot earlier. A lot of players say, once I hit a comfortable Infestor and Roach count, maybe 30 Roaches, 10 Infestors, then I can start incorporating some Hydras late game.
Yes.
And you can see, like, Lowely's going for that more conventionally because his 3 base is a little bit delayed. But earlier Hydras, especially I think in Heart of the Swarm, it won't actually be even that bad of a thing if you can squeeze out the speed upgrade for Hydras, because then your aggression possibility is much more increased. Part of the reasons why Hydras were such a late game option is because they're so bad mobility mid game that you can't control the map when you need to.
Yeah, but I mean, in this position, I think, as we were saying, we keep talking about it, Hydras are just so good here. Normally it's when you are comfortable, whenever you feel like you've stabilized. Of course, you get that Infestor count, as you were saying, Frodan. But once you feel like your opponent doesn't really have any timings, you just add on those Hydras, because Hydras are actually a lot better than Roaches. Once you have a Roach count, I mean, you don't want your Hydras actually taking the damage. If they're blindsided, you're pretty much dead, because those Hydras actually whittle away really, really fast. But if he's attacking in the right position, I think there's no way, absolutely no way Dark can actually lose this game.
There's 4 full energy Infestors, and Lowely, I mean, his 4th base has been canceled already. He knows he can't hold it. Andre, what do you think is also the right ratio of Roaches to Hydras? Is there like a general rule, like maybe 2 to 1? Or
yeah,
3 to
I like
1?
1-to-1, to be
1
completely
to 1?
honest.
Wow.
Yeah, I like 1-to-1. I think that's good enough, to be completely honest, because that DPS is just so much more important. And normally you're actually making the lines via your Infestors rather than just letting them attack move. So getting that extra DPS is so much more important than actually establishing your line, because the line establishment is actually subject to, obviously, the fungal growth micro. So when you're going into this battle, make sure your fungal growth micro is going to be pristine, else you're not going to be able to win the fight.
Yeah, agreed. Now, Dark is pushing out to the bottom half of this map, and he's going around behind. That puts himself in kind of an awkward situation if he was getting caught here in the off angle, which is what Lowely's trying to do. But Dark also has a lot more Infestors, and Lowely's clumping up everything. And in fact, all of his Hydras are not even in the battle, while most of Dark's army is, and that's going to especially favor him. Infested Terrans are dropping everywhere as well, and that's going to add a lot of DPS. Keep in mind that both players do have the same upgrades, so that difference is no longer in effect. Lowely does manage to save most of his Infestors and deal with everything. But in the end, I think this trade favors Dark because he's got a 4th base.
That's right. I mean, Dark wants to be trading from here. He wants to trade as much as possible, because the efficient trades that he gets, you can see the resource tab is pretty even, is better just because he has a lot more expansions to work with. Well, 1 to be exact, but that actually constitutes a lot. If you look, you could just say 4 to 3. That is a 33% advantage in income that you have just because you have that extra base, so it's quite substantial. And you can see Dark is doing it right. Look at how many Hydras there are right now, Frodan. That's quite substantial.
That's 21 Hydras, 13 Roaches, and 12 Infestors.
Look at that. He actually likes Hydras more than Roaches.
Yeah. I mean, it's very alluring to go for Hydras because their DPS is so outstanding, but man, are they fragile. But when you have small chokes like this, Andre, like we were saying, you can protect Hydras. Imagine if Dark was just so ballsy he never made a single Roach again, just went straight Infestor Hydra.
That would be wonderful.
That'd be really funny to watch.
Counterattack going in the mid right-hand position over here at the 4th base of Lowely. He needs to actually react to this. He's actually bringing everything back. It's a little bit scary, I would say, for Lowely, but you know, this is a really tough position because he feels like he needs to commit to this. This 4th base has been up for so long, and now his 4th base is being taken out, Frodan. So again, he's taking the deficit in economy. And if Lowely doesn't do something of value pretty soon like this, then he's going to be in a lot of trouble. But Frodan catching all the units off guard, he might be able to land beautiful fungal growths.
Nah, I don't know, Andre. There's just so many Hydras, and the Infested Terrans from Dark way outnumber Lowly's. And this represents so much because Lowely can't really afford to remake too many units. He's got so much in minerals, but his gas count is low. The Roaches from Dark are they were picking off units and now burrowed. And you know, Lowely was trying to make a miracle happen, Andre, but it's not going to happen.
Frodan, you need to pull the trigger faster when you have those Infestors and you're catching your opponent out of position. The game that comes to my mind is Zenio versus Galaxy on Metropolis. If you see that, both players were 200-200, and all that mattered was positioning.
Yep.
Just like this, I mean, obviously taking out the hatchery yet again is awesome. But if you're able to get positioning, don't be afraid to throw down those beach balls of infested Terrans and just lay them out so you have extra DPS and you have extra HP to help things out. You can see Dark is definitely a big supporter of that.
Man.
And down goes all the units. Infested Terrans are just so powerful, Frodan.
Yeah, and not just for damage, but also because they absorb damage, and your units that do have concrete HP are able to survive longer in the battle. And that's what we call effective hit points. Lowely trying to protect his ramp, getting some nice bungles off, but regardless, he's lost so much in Dark. He has his 5th base now. Lowely did try to expand to the bottom right, but he has no real map control, no security. Dark's kept his Infestus alive, something that he's awesome at doing. And he's also having +3/+2 finish up and teching. So he's basically pushing every single advantage he has in terms of economics. Yes, and Lowly, can he even remake a real army at this point?
Not really. And he feels like he needs to do something right now. He knows he has the upgrade advantage. I know he's been checking. Most likely, I mean, all pro gamers really check your opponent's upgrades all the time. And you can see 2-2 against 2-1. I need to actually push the aggression on now before my opponent can really materialize off of his bases. But Frodan is just too much. Look at this Hydras all around. He has the infested Terrans burrowed up. Lowly might be able to hold for a little bit longer, but it's just so tough, Frodan. With all these units out in the field, he's just throwing away Hydras like it's nothing. Yeah,
it really doesn't matter because he's on 10 gases. He can trade his Hydras for Infestors, for Roaches, for anything. Lowly still trying to be very aggressive, a little bit too rambunctious for my taste, as Lowly, I mean, every single unit that represents gas that dies is just, it hurts so much. Yeah. He's mined out of his main, his natural's drying up, his natural is dried up. He can't even establish the bottom right base. He's effectively on 1 base economy compared to 3 from Dark.
And their counter? Oh, no, they're all coming from the same. So this 4th base is going to go down yet again. Meanwhile, there is battle in the middle of the field, but this is all formality right now, Frodan. I mean, yes, Lowly will be able to win this battle over here, but it's not going to be enough for the war. Yeah. Killing that 4th base is really the crushing blow. Lowly has not been able to establish any more income. He's on only 1 mining base for minerals. And honestly, Dark is just walking all over him. There it is, GG. And Lowly taps out. 2-0 win for Dark.
Andre, I didn't tell you this, and I guess I don't necessarily feel too bad of it now, but I did pick Dark to win.
I did too.
Yes.
Well,
and
now
in between breaks, I'm going to check to make sure I did pick Dark, so that way I'm right in retrospect. That game was brought to you by GoToMyPC. There's a special offer at NASL.tv/P/GoToMyPC where you can take care of things like remote access to your PC, privacy, file transfers. All these things is possible and more when you use GoToMyPC. So check it out while we go on a break and get ready for our next match, which is Dark versus Beastie.
Oh, my God.
Which is going to be an awesome TVZ, a different animal that Dark has to face off of from one Euro to another. We'll be back right after this.